We're here today to do a little myth busting because lately I've been seeing a phrase pop up in piano teacher forums, voice teacher forums, just music teacher forums in general. And the phrase is marketing doesn't work for my studio. And I've found it really fascinating to see this phrase popping up again and again, whether it has to do with like Facebook marketing or has to do with, marketing on Instagram, marketing on your website, marketing on Google, like whatever the topic is, there is this resistance to thinking that marketing does not work. And I found it really fascinating. So I thought, let's jump on today and bust some myths about marketing so that we can get a clearer picture as to why marketing is not working for somebody, why marketing might not be working for you, and what are the shifts that we can make in order for marketing to work for you. So I'm glad that you're here today. If you're joining me live, be sure to say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from today. If you're watching this broadcast later on, know that I love to have conversations with people who come across these videos later. So jump on in like it's live and I will come back and have a conversation with you. So I'm going to double check to, we seem to be having a slow start to this broadcast here. Things are a little laggy on my end. So I'm just going to double check to make sure that everything is going the way that it needs to go. And then we are going to get into the good stuff. Oh, Elizabeth, thank you. That is so helpful. I see that you are here. She says, greetings from Central New York. I'm so glad to see you, my friend. We are going to be checking in. All right. I see everything is good. All right. We are going to be discussing 3 different myths about marketing and why it doesn't work. And we're going to be looking at one very specific shift that you can make in order to change that statement, right? That marketing doesn't work for my music studio. I'm here to tell you right now, marketing can work for your music studio, but we need to make sure that we bust those myths first and make this one tiny shift. And it's really going to help you get your good stuff out there and connect with the clients that you know that you can serve the most. Hey, Dylan. Dylan is tuning in from Los Angeles this morning. Nice to see you. Hey, we've got New York and Los Angeles here. Very good. Los Angeles here. Good stuff. Kathy, good to see you. Kathy, she's tuning in from Kansas today. Nice to see you, my friend. All right. So as I've mentioned earlier, we're going to be going through 3 different myths, and we're going to be looking at the shift that we can make in order to embrace marketing in our studio and really get specific about how marketing can work for you in a way that it won't feel weird. Because I know we talk about marketing a lot here, right? Marketing is something that a lot of music teachers feel icky about, and we're going to talk about exactly why here today. So if you are new to the broadcast, hey there, Amy, good to see you. Good morning from Florida. We got all the places here today. So if you're new here, I want to welcome you. My name is Sara Campbell. I am a business marketing and a mindset coach for music studio owners and online education experts just like yourself. I go live here every Wednesday where we talk about just those topics. We talk about business strategies and how we can show up as better business owners and embrace the business side of our studios. We talk about marketing and how we can learn to become better marketers so that we don't feel weird about asking for sales and making offers. And we talk about the mindsets that we need to have in place so that we can do those 2 things. All of those things, the purpose of all of those things is to support you so that you can be the best dang teacher that you can be, because you're really an amazing teacher and there's nobody quite like you out there. So that is what we are going to be doing today. And we love to learn out loud on the broadcast. So if you find something here that is valuable to you and you want to set an intention and put it out into the universe, I'm going to ask you to give me a hashtag takeaway and let us know, what was that nugget that you absorbed today? What was it that you heard that really made you go, oh, yeah, this is good stuff. All right, I'm going to make this happen. So give us a hashtag takeaway when you find that. I have some cool things set up for you today, but before we get to that, I want to thank those of you who chimed in on a poll I did on my personal page. I said I was going to make my job, easier And part of that was coming up with some new pieces of the wardrobe that I could throw on and stay warm, because normally I wear like my nice sweaters and all that stuff, but I'm telling you, now that I've got 2 kittens, nice sweaters around the house is just not a good idea at the moment. So we're gonna stick with hoodies for a little bit and see if we can avoid those snags. And so I put out a poll asking, what do you think of these sweatshirts? And I got 2 of them yesterday. The poll resoundingly said that everybody liked the logo in white, just like this logo that you see over here, right? Well, I promptly got something on that sweatshirt this morning as I was feeding my cats. So that one's getting washed. I'm wearing the black one today. And so the moral of the story is I got both. So anyway, all right, all that aside, let's get to the good stuff today. I have some really great things that I'm going to pass along to you through the Savvy Sara bot. And if you want to get a hold of those, you're going to drop a marketing below. She's going to send you 3 things today. 1, she's going to send you a way that you can opt in for the notifications next week. If you have never done that before, it's just a simple message that is sent to you here on Facebook with a direct link to this broadcast that is very easy to find. And 2, she's going to send you a podcast that I recorded with Dave Simon a few weeks back, and it was just released last week. I had a chance to listen to it over the weekend, and man, we had a great conversation. I mean, my memory of doing this a few weeks back was I felt so positive and empowered after having that chat with Dave. We talk about marketing, and we talk about the number one mistake that music teachers make when it comes to marketing their studios. We had a fantastic conversation. So many good ideas came out of it. So she's gonna, the bot is gonna send you a link to that broadcast. His podcast is called Music Lessons and Marketing. I want to make sure that I get that totally right. Here we go. We're going to bring that up. We have Music Lessons and Marketing with Dave Simon. It's the Music Lesson Podcast. And so I highly recommend listening to that. If you have not subscribed to that on iTunes or whatever you listen to your podcasts with, go ahead and do that, because it's really some fun stuff here. Oh, hey, nice to see you. Lisa's tuning in from Central Florida. Good to see you, Lisa. And actually, I'd love to know if any of you have listened to Dave's podcast in the past. Let me know. Drop a Dave below, or like Dave rocks. Let's shout him out, because he's got really great topics. He does some of the shows that he does are solo shows where he talks about his own marketing expertise. And he also brings on a lot of guests, and he did a fantastic job. He and his team did a fantastic job doing a write-up of the show. So the bot will send you that link, and I think you're really going to like that. Hey, Dorla, I don't know if you just tuned in, but I told a story about the hoodie. I got 2 of them. I got one with the black rendition of the logo, and then the white one. And I got cat medicine on the white one this morning, so that one's currently soaking in Dawn and will get washed this afternoon. So anyway, all right, thanks. All right, let's get to it today. So the topic of the day: busting the marketing doesn't work for me myth. Now, let me talk a little bit about why I chose this topic. I chose this topic because I see a lot of conversations in forums that circle around the idea that teachers don't believe that a certain platform, like a certain type of marketing, will work for them, right? Whether it has to deal with a specific social media platform, or if it's like some type of a web platform, whether it's, some type of a listing, or it's your website, or it's Google, whatever. They believe that we do not have the ability to make that type of marketing work. And so what happens is I'll hear these little statements like thrown around in all kinds of different ways, whether it's somebody just making a post out of frustration and saying like, oh, I'm just like, I can't understand why these Facebook ads didn't work, or something like that. But here's the problem. The more that we, first off, the more that we say this, the more that we say marketing doesn't work for me, we are manifesting that idea. So the more that we convince ourselves that marketing doesn't work, and that, posting about your offerings, or, sending out emails or whatever is not working for you, you're going to start to believe that falsehood. So first we need to get away from embracing that idea that marketing doesn't work. The more that we say that, the more that we see that, say or see, if we're like saying it ourselves, if we're seeing other people doing it and we're going, oh yeah, and like agreeing with them, we are feeding into this myth, this falsehood that marketing doesn't work when you own a music studio. Now, let's get to some specific myths that we've been taught over the years and that we might believe. Or like maybe you don't quite believe it, but you're like, it's in the back of your brain, right? So we're going to go through 3 specific myths. Let's take a look at these guys. If you guys are with me here and you have felt that little tinge in the back of your brain going like, oh, it doesn't work when I do this, I want you to let me know. In fact, I would love to know what is it that doesn't work? It doesn't work when I do blank, right? Marketing doesn't work when I do blank. Fill in the blank and let us know what that is below. We're going to bust those myths for you right here. Okay, yeah. Elizabeth says, takeaway, turn blurts into affirmations for businesses too. I like that. Very good. All right, what's that noise down there? Okay, some funky noises from downstairs. All right, myth number 1. Let's take a look. So the first myth is the statement, X didn't work, so it can't work. So let's say, for instance, you ran an ad on a social media platform and you found that you didn't get a lot of traction from it. And then your takeaway from that is, okay, so I ran this ad, I spent this money, it's obviously not going to work. It could be that maybe you placed an ad in a local magazine or a newspaper or something like that. And you think, okay, I spent this money and it just was a waste of time. So we absorb this myth in that since I did this one thing once, it definitely won't work in the future. And so we take a look at whatever that thing was, whatever that, marketing platform was, advertising platform was, and we like X that off of our list and we think, okay, this will never work for me. There's danger in that because oftentimes if we can make small shifts in the type of marketing that we're putting out there, whether it's like just pure on marketing and like telling the story of your studio, or if it's like an actual advertisement and making an offer, there might be issues with that advertisement or that offer. Maybe it's not using the right words. Maybe it's not using the right visuals, the right tone. It isn't really expressing who you are as a studio and connecting with people and their desires. So that's the first myth, right? When we tell ourselves, since I did this and I didn't get the results that I wanted, obviously this thing doesn't work anymore. So that's the first myth that I want to look at. And I want you to think for a second, okay, where can I find that truth in my experience? We all have it, right? Every single one of us has this experience. There is something that you've done in the past and it did not work really well. I can think about a Facebook ad that I ran probably back in 2015, and it was leading towards a vocal showcase that I was running. It was a week-long workshop that ended in this showcase, and I was really not pleased with the results that I got from the ad. Well, I could have at that point said, okay, well then obviously these ads don't work for me and I'm never going to use it again. I'm really glad that I didn't because it allowed me to examine like what it was that didn't actually work in that and to learn, okay, here are the shifts that I need to make. Part of it was like my copy was off, my image wasn't really optimized for that specific platform, and it was that I didn't understand how to use the ad tool in a way that could create better conversions. So that's, an example that I can share specifically. So I want you guys to think and share here, what are the things that you've tried in the past that you felt like blah about and that you kind of swore off and said you weren't going to do it anymore? Let us know what that thing was. Maybe we can find some magical tweaks for you today so that you can make it work. All right, I'm jumping into the comments because I see a bunch of good stuff here. Oh, thanks, Amy. I talked about it kind of earlier in the broadcast. I'm loving it. I think it's super cute. I've got 2 more coming in the mail. Can't wait to see them. Kerri says, marketing. Ooh, Kerri. Marketing doesn't work when I do nothing. Ooh, can we get some like thumbs up and hearts for that? Let's give Kerri a fireworks show here because that's a strong statement. And it's true. Marketing doesn't work when you do nothing, right? Because whether or not we realize it, we're actually always marketing. If we have stuff out, oh yay, I see all the hearts and thumbs up coming up. If we have platforms where we have information about our studio, if we have a website, if we have a Facebook page, and we are not doing anything to those things, guess what? You're still marketing. But here's the problem. You're not actively marketing. And so the perception that your audience has over your marketing that is totally inactive is negatively impacted. There might be multiple reasons. One, that it looks like there's dead space there and nothing's happening and things haven't been updated in 3 years. 2, it might be that you had some like, I was going to swear. Yeah, I'm going to swear. Half-assed attempts to do marketing, and it just like came across as like lazy, or it didn't have the right message, right? So it can be those types of things. Kerri, I'm not saying that you did those things, but I love that you mentioned that statement. It's so powerful. Dorla, okay, this is great. Marketing doesn't work when I am not consistent, right? So if we're not consistent with our marketing and getting our messaging out there and being able to influence the perception that people have on our business and like on what we do, then yeah, okay. And Kerri says the truth hurts 100%. Lisa says, I don't like sharing posts that feel salesy. I want them to share value or edify sometime. Oh, okay. Lisa, I'm so glad that you mentioned this. I think this is really powerful stuff. Thank you for contributing that. This is great. Exactly. So you don't like it when you feel salesy. So let's examine that. This perfectly brings me to my second point. Thank you for the transition, Lisa. Second point, the myth that marketing means you're selling something. Let that sink in for a second. We have this idea in our brain. We have been taught that when we market our studio, we are selling something. So maybe when you're thinking about marketing, the first thing that pops to mind, actually, I would love to, before I say this, I would love to know, what is the first thing that pops to your mind when you hear the word marketing? What is that idea in your head when I say to you, you need to market your studio? What's the first thing that pops into your brain? What's the first thing that pops into your gut? How does it make you feel when I say you need to market your studio? Ooh, lots of good oh, okay, good. All right, I hear, I see that Dorla says selling. Dylan says cold calls. Lisa says relationships. Ding, ding, ding. Lisa, yeah. So marketing is not selling something. Marketing is telling the story and painting the vision of what it is that happens inside of your studio. Brenda says, it makes me feel like I'm trying to sell my services. Good. Jessica tagged a friend. Hey, if you have a friend who would benefit from this broadcast, I forgot to ask this earlier, if you have any teacher friends or teacher organizations that you think could benefit from this conversation, please be sure to tell them about this. Send it to them, let them know about us, and we'd love for them to join us. So let's come back to this idea of marketing is establishing relationships. Lisa, you're spot on, right? Marketing is not selling our stuff. Marketing is painting the vision of what it is to be a part of your studio. It's telling the stories about the magic that you create and the lives that you change. And, to be quite honest, most of that change is not just because like somebody got really good at singing a song or playing a piece. This is something that I talked about with Dave inside of that podcast. And I should mention right now, if you do want to get a hold of that podcast, because it's super good, like it's so good, drop marketing below, and the Savvy Sara bot will set you up with that. But let's get back to this, right? One of the things that we touched on in the broadcast was we had a conversation that led to a statement that like kind of like dripped out of my mouth, and I was like, ooh, I like that. I like that. And I'm actually going to read it because like it was so good. I couldn't remember what I said like 100%. So I'm going to read this because Dave's like show notes are amazing, and he actually has all of the stuff here. So I'm going to read this if I can find it. Okay. So pardon my reading. All right. Here's the exciting part. Dave told me, he said, okay, oh, that's marketing gold right there when we were talking about what marketing really is. So I used an analogy that was kind of weird, but stick with me for a moment. We can think of music lessons as being the vehicle, right? And that the journey that happens outside of the vehicle. So if you're on a road trip, right, and you're in a car, you're not thinking like, this is a great car. You're not just thinking about the car, and you're not looking at all the features and going, oh, this is a great thing. So if we think of music lessons as a vehicle, right? The stuff that happens outside the car is the important part. It's not the car itself. It's not the music itself, right? We are thinking about, if you are on a car trip and you are going someplace, you're not thinking about that car. You're thinking about the journey that's happening. And that's the cool thing about music. And this is going to tie into what marketing is, right? Music is a beautiful vehicle for change. Music is a beautiful vehicle for change. So what you are actually doing in your studio as you teach people, it's not about just teaching them a piece. It's about the change and the journey that we go through in the learning process, right? It's about discovering more about ourselves as human beings. And it's about, really getting into what is the result that happens after music lessons. Is it that they become a good musician, or is it they become a better human being and they understand themselves more, they understand other people more? So I see lots of marketing tuning into the comments here. All right, this is great. All right, I see that one of the things that Janet thinks of when she thinks of marketing is where to start. The first thing that pops into her head. Lisa is talking about story brands. So good. That story brand is really important. Kerri says she doesn't want to sell from a scarcity mindset. How could I say I have room in my studio for students on Facebook without sounding salesy? Ooh, great question here, Kerri. Let's circle back to that. Dylan says that he thinks of visibility, like getting out there. Thank you, Jessica. I love the sweatshirt too. Jessica says, I like to share fun things we are doing in the studio. Boom. That is marketing, right? That is actual marketing. It's not advertising, because marketing is not selling. Marketing is telling your story. And if you are not telling your story, actively taking part in telling your story, then somebody else is going to tell that story, or nobody's going to tell that story, and nobody will know. So that's why, the myth that we have to bust, that when you think of marketing your studio, if the first thing that comes to your mind is like selling, cold calls, all this stuff, we need to shift that. We need to understand that marketing is not selling. It's telling your story, it's painting the picture, and it's allowing us to show that music is so much more than just learning a piece or singing a song. It's a beautiful vehicle for change and growth. All right, let's get to myth number 3, and then we're going to talk about the shift. Myth number 3. This is circling back to number 2, but we're going to get more specific with this. That your business equals lessons. I'm letting you sit with that for a second, because you're probably going, what do you mean? Your business is not lessons. Lessons, that's the car. Your business is the journey. Your business is about human relationships. It's about change. It's about growth. It's about embracing the learning process and becoming a student who is open and willing to examine things, to question things. So you're not selling lessons. I mean, you can. But really what you're doing is you're providing an experience. You're providing a journey for people. And we need to learn how to specifically lean into what does that journey look like in your studio. Because the journey in your studio is different than any other studio. Because you're a unique human being. You have very unique skill sets. You have a unique personality. And so how you're delivering that service to people is different than how anybody else delivers it. And so it's so important. Oh, yes, Janet, hashtag changing lives. Really good. Lisa says consistent storytelling and sharing content will attract people without giving a big shout out that feels like you're begging for clients. Yes, people naturally want to be a part of something that is fun and valuable. 100%. Dylan's giving some claps. Yeah, and this is great. Oh, okay, Jessica, I'm so glad that you brought up the itty bitty kitty unicorn. Okay, voice teachers, if you have not gotten a hold of this, you need to go to the full voice. I'm gonna make sure that I get her fullvoicemusic.com. Make sure that I have it. No, that's not it. Let me find so full voice music. Okay, thefullvoice.com, and you need to go and you need to download the freebie that came out last Friday, because it's hilarious. And it won't make much sense unless you actually download it. The itty bitty, thank you, Lisa, you're the best. The itty bitty kitty unicorn was a really great warm-up exercise that Nikki Loney came up with. And I have seen so many teachers using this exercise and then taking videos of their students and sharing them inside of groups, sharing them on their business pages. And what we see with this is beautiful marketing, because it is showing how much fun they have during lessons. It's just genius. It's really good stuff. All right, back to this idea that this myth, right? That your business is just lessons. I would love for you to sit down and take a moment and really think about what you are providing for your clients. What are the transformations that your clients have? What do they go through? What are those things that, a parent sends you a random text or an email saying like, oh my gosh, thank you for this. And they say like this specific thing that happened with their kid. It doesn't really have anything to do with what you've taught them in lessons, but it's because of what you've done in lessons, in the experience that you've provided. So I want you to sit down and really think about what that transformation is. It's really important when it comes to developing our marketing that we understand that, because that's what your marketing is. You're marketing the journey, not the vehicle, not even the destination. You're marketing the journey. And if we can lean into that, then our marketing isn't salesy anymore, right? So let's look at a shift. You ready for the shift? And then we'll go back through all of these things. All right, here's the shift. When you feel like your marketing is salesy and it feels yucky, then it's time to revisit your strategy. This harkens back to a conversation that I hosted, I think 2-ish months ago, maybe 3 months ago, where we were talking about goals, strategies, and tactics. Today, what I've been really leaning into is saying that, okay, a lot of teachers out there will say things like, X didn't work for me, so it won't work, right? And what they're talking about is a tactic, right? When we think of like a specific way that we're going to market our studio or advertise our studio, we pick a tactic to do that. That tactic might be like a newspaper, a magazine, social media, your website, an ad, whatever. Whatever that tactic is, when we do that tactic and it doesn't work, doesn't mean that that tactic will not work for you. What it means is that you didn't have a strategy in place to create effective marketing or to create an effective ad. And so when something doesn't work, instead of giving up on it entirely and just like releasing it to the universe and saying like, well, this obviously doesn't work, so the universe will decide when people, get a hold of me. What if you shifted your strategy and really examined what does my marketing message need to be? Who am I as a teacher? Who are we as a studio? What does this studio stand for? What are the values of my studio? What are the benefits that my students see after being in the studio for a week, a month, a year, and getting really specific about this? When we sit down with our strategy and we get specific with those things, then marketing becomes a lot easier and a lot less stressful, to be honest. If we can understand the transformations that we're providing people and really pinpoint them, then we have an idea of who we want to work with, how we want to work with them, and how we can communicate that with people, and how we can share the story of all of this stuff so that other people get excited. Yes, Sara, thank you. Sara Beckelheimer, we are developing self-confidence in our students. Dylan says marketing fails when the audience isn't warmed up. Exactly. And the way that we warm up our audience is by telling the story. Sometimes that story's messy. Sometimes it's not perfect. Here's a secret though. Most likely, that person who you know that you can serve, right? That ideal client that is out there, they're waiting for somebody to tell them that they don't have to be perfect and that this music journey is going to be something that's really exciting for them because of X, Y, and Z. And those X, Y's, and Z's are the little bits of magic that you bring to your music teaching. And they're waiting to hear about them. And unless you tell those stories, they aren't going to know that you're here. So it's time to revisit the strategy. If you are ready to revisit your strategy and to bust those myths, let me know below. Give me some fireworks. Give me some bombs. We're going to bust those things. And we want to get rid of those myths here. We want to be able to embrace our marketing as something that can be fun and exciting. We want to embrace telling the stories so that we can get that information out there to the people that we can help the most. Oh yeah, I'm seeing some little fireworks there. All right, so speedy recap. Before we get to the speedy recap, I do want to say if this topic is something that you feel totally lost on, but you know that it is 100% necessary for you to take this step in learning to market your studio. Thank you there, Cheryl. Sorry. If you are knowing that like this is the step I need to grow my business right now and to really step into who I am as a business person, this is probably the last time you see this reminder. There are only 2 spots left in Branding Bootcamp. 2 spots. And I'm having conversations with people right now. And those 2 spots, maybe one of those spots is for you. And just to let you know, we get started next Friday. Branding Bootcamp is where we establish the foundations that we need, business foundations, marketing foundations, branding foundations that allow us to really communicate effectively to our ideal clients, to create good marketing, good advertising, and to make sure that our socials and our websites are set up in a way that are really speaking to the people that you want to work with. And we get started next Friday on February the 19th. So there's still time to join, only 2 spots left. Just so you know, the price goes up on Friday. So if you are interested in that, let me know. Either send me a private message or put branding down below and I will reach out to you and we can have a chat. All right, let's go to the speedy recap, guys. Are we ready? Busting the marketing doesn't work for me myth. If you have heard these statements or if you've said them yourselves, it is time to bust some myths so that we can make sure that we step into our awesomeness and show up as real human beings and awesome teachers. And here's how we're going to do it. There are 3 myths that we have to confront first. Myth number 1. It didn't work, so it can't work. If you say this, right? The more that we say this to ourselves, the more that we're going to believe it as fact. So if you catch yourself saying something like this, or if you see a friend saying something like this, have a pause, have a little discussion and say, okay, all right, it didn't work this time. Let's look at why, right? Because if we tell ourselves that it can't work, we're going to give up an opportunity on being able to make that shift and making it work. Myth number 2. That marketing is selling. Sometimes marketing can be selling because part of marketing is advertising, and that certainly is selling. But marketing itself is not selling. Marketing is telling the story. It is telling the journey. So when we see the word marketing and we get that like bubbly, icky feeling in our tummy, or like we go, ooh, right? Then we need to bust that myth. Marketing is not selling. Marketing is telling your story and letting people know what that journey is like. It's painting the vision. It's telling people that you can help them, right? It's solving problems for people in so many different ways. So that's the second myth that we need to bust. The third myth is that your business is just lessons. Your business is not just lessons. You are so much more than that. When you think about the students that you've helped over the years and the transformations that you've seen in people, that's what you're doing. That's what your studio is about. I can think of, a student from this week who, it wasn't just about the piano lessons. She's been with me for 10 years. 10 years. And she's a senior and she's graduating. Anybody else feel me on the sads when their seniors graduate? She made it into her college of choice. She's not studying music, but she made it into her college of choice. And I'd like to think that part of that, maybe just a small part of that, is because as a musician and a performer, she was really able to discover who she was and what made her happy. And so I'm so excited that she's following that dream and that she is really leaning into what she's excellent at. And I helped write her a really pretty awesome recommendation letter. But anyway, no, I did not get her into that college. She got herself into that college. But that's part of it, right? That's part of, oh, Jessica, you have 3 seniors this year. Oh, sad times, sad times. Oh, hey there, Barbara. I hope you have your latte. Oh, no warm coffee this morning. Yes, Barbara, 100%. Marketing starts in our studio before we can tell others. This is so good. Exactly. Yes, Dylan, we don't see the full impact we make as music teachers. This is true. Oftentimes we don't. Yeah, Karen says she's ambitious for graduates. Oh, and Jessica's got some people planning for music degrees. Woo! So, okay, third bit. Okay, we busted that third myth. Stay on track, Sarah. You guys are so good. Like, your comments are so fantastic this week. I'm loving the conversation. So once we bust those myths, we have to look at the shift. We have to revisit our strategy and really think, okay, just because this tactic didn't work this time doesn't mean that it can't work. And let me tell you a really tiny story about why I'm so glad. This is circling back to what I said at the beginning. I am so glad that I did not 100% give up on Facebook ads. Here's why. I'm still learning because, whew, I tell you what, that business manager is like a beast. I can't wait. I'm having a 5-hour training with one of my coaches, a VIP day with her, and we are going to dive into this. I'm so excited to learn more. But I'm really glad that I didn't give up on figuring out how to make good ads, because while that ad that I did way back in the past, like, totally fell flat, and yes, it was probably a waste of $50, I've found some ads now that I can use that are actually being super effective. And it's because I've honed in on my messaging, on my copy, on my calls to action, and figured out how I can solve people's problems. And yesterday, I'll give you a great example. Yesterday, I have an ad that hadn't been active for a while. I decided to turn it back on. And within 5 hours of me turning that ad back on, I made a sale. And it kind of blew my mind. And it just so happened that I was able to reach out to that person because I knew that person, and I asked them, I said, hey, I'm so excited to support you inside of this course. Yay, this is great. Can you tell me how, what was it that moved you into action? And she told me, oh, I saw your ad. So just because it didn't work doesn't mean it can't. We just need to sit down with our strategy and we really need to think about it. All right. So many good things. Yes, Kathy says her takeaway of this week is to revisit her strategy. Christine says, I need to do an ad for World Voice Weekend. Ooh, we should talk about that in Succo. Yeah. And for those who don't understand, that means the Speakeasy Cooperative, and it's a fantastic place. I work as a coach there, and I'm also a member of the Speakeasy Cooperative. If you're a voice teacher and you're looking for a place where you can really up your business game, put Speakeasy down below and I will message you about that. All right. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I really appreciate you hanging on. I went a little long today. Sorry about that. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you want to get a hold of the stuff that I have set up with the bot, make sure that you put marketing down below. If you want information about that branding bootcamp and those 2 spots that are left, put a branding below and I'll reach out to you privately. All right. That is all for today. Thank you for being here, everyone. Whew. My name is Sara Campbell. I am a business marketing and mindset coach for music studio owners and online education experts just like you. You can find me live here every single Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about all those topics. And in the meantime, until next week, stay savvy and stay you, because you are an amazing piano, voice, ukulele, guitar teacher. And there is no teacher in the world that is quite like you. And I think you're pretty dang awesome. So we'll see you next week, guys. Thanks. Bye.